Hello guys, it is your girl Aya and I am back with another video. This is a highly requested video and a long overdue video. So my sincerest apologies to those of you who are asking. Better late than never, I always say, right? Today's video is going to be how to get an agent and a manager. What is the difference between an agent and a manager? Are you ready for an agent? What do you need? How do you talk to an agent? All of that good stuff. And make sure you stay to the end because my manager is going to be giving you a manager's perspective. Yes, guys, I am giving you the perspective from a manager directly from the source. Everything an actor wants to know from a manager, agent, rep, all that good stuff. So make sure you stay to the end because this video is going to be very helpful. Lots of good little tidbits, okay? I'm going to start off by introducing myself. Who am I? What do I know? Like, who am I to give you this information? I am Aya. I am a 21-year-old actress in Los Angeles, California. I act, I write, I direct, and I am located in Hollywood, so I'm right in the action. Okay, baby? As I'm filming this, I also want to mention today, literally the strike just ended today, so make some noise! Make some noise, y'all! I'm so happy about that. So this is why this is perfect timing for this video because I'm about to get back into business, about to be booming again. Anyways, I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I've been through the trials and tribulations of the beginning stages of an actor, and I'm here to help you in your journey so that you don't have to go through it like I did. Okay, I'm here to give you the tips, the insights to make it easier for you and to help you along your journey. I currently have an agent and manager myself, and I'm going to be telling you guys all the different ways you can get one because it can be a little rough finding representation, especially in Los Angeles. And it's really rough if you don't know how to start, where to look, what to do. And that's why your friendly neighborhood actress Aya is here to help you. So let's get started, baby. Why do you need an agent or a manager, and why should you want one? Bigger opportunities. Agent and managers have way more access to jobs than we do. Not only that, they have access to the higher paying jobs, the bigger jobs, more opportunities. What's the difference between an agent and a manager? Now, I'm telling you guys, this had me stuck for years. Like, I just could not process it for a while what the difference was, and it takes some time, but it's actually way more simple than you think it is, or than I thought it was myself. An agent's job is strictly to book you work and get you better pay. They are typically the ones who are going to negotiate getting you paid more. And typically the communication is more limited. That's why people say you're going to be typically closer with your manager than your agent. Although when it comes to communication, it's going to be based on the individual. They might say they like being contacted by phone, email, or barely at all. You should make it clear between the two of you how you guys want to be contacted. A manager does exactly what their title says. They manage. They are managing your whole career. They book you jobs. They set up interviews. Anything else regarding to your career, they are going to be managing that. In addition to booking you acting jobs. 100% you are going to be closer with your manager than your agent. And part of the reason that is because they are managing your whole career. They typically have less clients than your agents do. Typically your agents will have a whole list of clients while your manager might just have a few, just way less than your agent does. Since they are managing your career, so many aspects of your career, they want to talk to you. They want you to be able to reach out to them and ask them questions, anything you need to know, because they want to guide you in the right direction for your career. They want to have a relationship with you. Not to say that your agent doesn't, but typically your agent is more focused on booking. You'll probably have a relationship with your agent, but not like you will with your manager. Before we even get to how to get an agent or a manager, we need to know, are you ready to get an agent and a manager? And how are you going to know this? Have you taken any acting classes, workshops, lessons? Have you done theater or drama club? Do you have headshots and good headshots, character headshots? Now your headshots are going to get better throughout your career no matter what, so it's okay if they're not perfect. I will show you mine for a quick example of some good type of character headshots, and it took time to get to this, okay? No, my original headshots did not look like that. Good character headshots. Do you know your brand? Do you know your type or the type of characters that you're going to be playing? Because best believe if you get a meeting with an agent or a manager, they're going to be asking you that. What's your brand? What's your type? Who are you going to be playing? What types do you usually play? Do you know that? If not, you need to figure that out. Are you confident in your acting abilities? This is important because as artists, we typically doubt our skills or question, are we good enough? Is this good? Like, we are our hardest critic. So when I say, are you confident in your abilities? Are you going to be okay to go on set and not embarrass your agent or manager? Because know that when you're going out out there, you are representing them, and they know that, and that's what they're keeping in mind if they're going to sign you. So are you confident in your abilities? Are you confident in yourself? If you answered no to any of these questions, you might want to take it a little bit slower. You don't need to rush to get an agent or a manager. If you haven't taken any acting lessons, workshops, anything, if you haven't done any theater, drama club, I highly, highly, highly recommend doing that before you get an agent and a manager. And I'm not saying that you aren't naturally talented, because you probably are. But what I'm saying is, if you haven't tried it, at all, it might be hard to convince an agent and a manager to sign you. And outside of that, do it for yourself. It's about growing your skills yourself, so you know what to do, so you know how to act, you know the craft. Like, you don't have to know everything about the craft of acting, but know something before you are reaching out to agents and managers. Now, let's get on how to get an agent and a manager. Now that we know the differences between an agent and a manager, if you're ready or not, let's talk about all the ways on how to get one. There are so many ways. There is not just one way. The most common way is self-submission, submitting yourself to an agency or management company. If an agency or management company takes open submissions, you will know. There will be no confusion, because you will see it on their website. There will either be a form for you to fill out and put your information, name, age, headshots, etc., or they will give you an email and tell you what to send to them, usually headshots, actors access, links to you acting, etc., etc. If there's not a form for you to put your information in, or if there's not an email that tells you that you can submit, then they don't take open submissions. I have done this method plenty of times with lots of trial and error, and I'm gonna help you so you don't have to do the trial and error. So this is how you don't want your email to look. Why? Because now they have a bunch of different stuff to click on, and it's not like quick, easy, and efficient. It seems more like a chore to find out about you than if they actually want you. You want to have an email that looks something like this. Quick and easy links they can look at, like your actors access, that should have videos of you acting on there, shows your resume, so you don't have to send your resume in PDF. It shows your headshots. So like actors access is a great link you could see. I would say actors access, if you have a website, tell a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in them. You want to make it easy for them to see you. If it feels like a chore, they're not gonna want to look at it, because they have plenty of other submissions to look at, and you just don't want to make it hard for yourself. Make sure whatever you are sending, you have footage of yourself on there acting. And what I have learned is it's better to have a clear self-tape of you doing a phenomenal job acting than like actual footage from something if it's not the best quality or if it doesn't showcase your skills the best. And I heard that from an agent themselves, just so you know. That's how I learned that, because they saw me act and they were like, I think you have the chops, but I don't think your profile shows it. It's all about what you can do, not always about what you have been in, although that can be important to certain reps. But you gotta start somewhere, okay? Your talent is what's important. And the thing about these submissions is a lot of times you won't get a response. It can be so frustrating, because it's like, at least respond back, at least tell me no. But a lot of times you're just not gonna get a response, and it might hurt, but don't take it personal, because I promise you it's not personal. It's really not. And if you don't get a response, just know they weren't for you, didn't have the best email, then you do better next time. Don't be hard on yourself, and don't let that discourage you. It's not about the emails you don't get back. It's not about the responses you don't get back. It's about who does respond back, who does want to set up that meeting with you. Now, this is with submissions, but I'm warning you, be careful with this method. It has never backfired on me, but just do your research before you do this method. So on IMDB Pro, you can see who somebody's rep by. I will show you mine, for example. Here you can see my agent and my manager, and boom, it shows their information as well. So say you cannot find an agent or manager's email for the life of you, but you just know you would be a perfect fit for them, or you're really interested, whatever the case may be. Find them on IMDB, there's their email right there, and draft you a great response. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, then don't do it. I would say if it's something you really want, you feel confident in it, then you'll be fine. Don't overthink the whole process of all this stuff, but be smart about what you're doing as well. Another thing, let's say you like Pretty Little Liars or something, right? I do. So look at the casting for an episode, and instead of looking at who the big actors rep by, look at somebody who might be a recurring, or somebody who just isn't a big actor in the show. Go look at their representation on IMDb and message them, because if they can get somebody on a show like that, then so can you. You can be on a show like that, if that's the type of shows you want to be on. Look at those shows, look at the episodes, and see who plays the waitress or the girlfriend in the episode, or boyfriend or victim, whatever it is, and look into their reps. Next way, it is also also a little so-so. I personally would say do this as more of a last choice if you don't have many other options or you've done everything else, because it can be risky for both parties. The second way is referral. So referral is having a friend or somebody you know refer you to an agent or refer their agent to you. Why this is risky is because a lot of people don't want to put their name out on the line for somebody else. Because say I refer you and then you act a fool, and now my agent is like, why did you refer me to this fool? You know, like, I don't want to make myself look bad. I don't want to lose my agent. It can be risky because a lot of people don't want to put their name on the line, so they might say no. But if you decide to choose this, don't embarrass your friend or whoever referred you, because that is so kind of them and they are putting their name out on the line. So it's understandable why this could be uncomfortable, because you're asking somebody for help as well, and you don't want to ruin their relationship with their representation. They don't want to ruin their relationship with their representation either. But I will say, if you have a friend or somebody rep by an agency or an agent manager you really want, let that be a reason why. Don't let it be just because you need an agent or a manager. It should be more about finding the right fit for you and not just finding somebody. But if there's an agent who's caught your attention, a manager, that company, then that's different, you know? But it does put you in somewhat of an uncomfortable position with both parties because of what I just explained. The next way, and this is a very common way, showcases. I myself have done a few showcases to get an agent and a manager, and I have gotten one before, but that's a different story. We'll talk about my experience later. This is a really popular option on how to get an agent or a manager. I've done one in person and online, so I've gotten both sides of the experience of showcases. A lot of them are online nowadays because of so much moving online, and with COVID and the pandemic and everything moving virtually, but I'm sure there are plenty in person still. Just be careful with showcases in general. Know that it's not guaranteed that you're gonna get an agent and a manager, and you have to pay for showcases. What you are paying for is the opportunity and the fact that agents and managers get to see you. But know that nothing is guaranteed. Now, I say be careful because just make sure they're legit. Don't think you got scammed just because you didn't get picked. That's not quite how it works. But make sure that you don't get scammed. Just do your research on whatever company or whoever's doing it. Ask your friends who have been in showcases before to recommend you some if you need some. What happens in showcases is basically a group of people will be shown to agents and managers. Typically, you do a monologue for them. It doesn't have to be a monologue, might be a scene as well. It just depends on the options they give you and the time frame. They'll see your resume, your headshots, and decide if they want to sign you. They'll tell the people in the company, and the people in the company will tell you and connect you guys. But typically it's a time frame because a bunch of people are going, so maybe 90 seconds, however long, you know, certain guidelines that they'll have you guys follow. It is a good option, but no, it's not guaranteed, and that you do have to pay for it. Casting websites will be your best friend when it comes to looking for representation. Backstage constantly has castings for agencies looking for submissions. I've seen plenty of them on there, along with manager submissions as well. Actors Access will also be your best friend. They have something called Talent Link, which will connect you with agents and managers. Basically, I'll show you right here. You will put the locations you're looking for, what you're looking for, and they'll connect you. And one of the last ways you can get a representation is they reach out to you. This is pretty rare, but it does happen, and it's happened to me. They can find you on casting websites like Backstage. They might find your Instagram. They might see you in something. They can reach out to you because they saw you were talented. Maybe they saw you in a play. There's just so many ways. You could even meet an agent and they're like, I like this person. Let me see what you got. They like what you got, and y'all sign. So now let me tell you my story with representation. My story in representation, how I first got representation in North Carolina, is pretty short and simple. In North Carolina, I was in a showcase. It was for acting and modeling. They had casting associates come, agents and managers. I got picked for a variety of things, and I think I got picked by 2 or 3 agencies. I ended up signing with my second favorite agency because my number one, they said I needed more experience. So to me, that was my way to get more experience, was to sign with another agent and then come back to them. Now, how I got my agent out here in LA, my agent and manager, similar stories, but a lot different. Last year in January, I decided it was time to start looking for representation, and it was rough. I was like, geez. I was in 2 showcases in January of last year and didn't get an agent, a manager, none of it. The good thing about that showcase was they gave us feedback, so I was able to improve my casting websites and all that good stuff and what I was putting forth so that I could have better to present. Thankfully, it wasn't for nothing, you know. And nothing is for nothing anyways, you know. You always learn and you grow. Through that, I was able to improve my websites and what I was putting forth of myself. For a good 2 months or so, I was just grinding submissions, emails, da 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 da. And the responses I did get, they didn't want to sign me. And I'm not gonna lie, it was frustrating. If I'm being completely honest, I remember crying to my mom, like, I don't understand why I can't find anyone. I know I'm talented. I'm telling you this, not for sympathy, but I'm telling you this so you can know that it's not always easy. And most things that are so rewarding aren't easy. This is completely normal, that you're not the only one going through it if it's taking you time to find representation. Because if you are in a populated city, or just in general, it's not the easiest. And it's not the easiest to find a good match. It's one thing to find somebody, but do you guys mesh together? Will that work out, you know? Are you guys a good pairing? So I was on the grind, just looking for representation, and nothing was coming about until about March or so, March, April. I finally started getting some responses, but the thing about those responses, they were all agents, but nobody wanted to assign me across the board. That means they would represent me theatrically, commercial, print, everything that I can do as an actor. That means they would represent me that way, but most people responding back to me only wanted me on one thing, print and commercial or theatrical. Nobody wanted to sign me across the board, which was disappointing. I had to, you know, use what was being presented to me for the time being. And also, I do want to mention, since I didn't mention this before, you can have more than one agent if they are representing you in different departments. So you could have like a commercial agent and a theatrical agent because they're representing you in two different divisions. You cannot have two agents that are doing the same exact thing. Otherwise, you're probably breaching your contract and it will be a conflict of interest. I set up meetings with each of them, and lo and behold, none of those meetings happened. Why? Well, because my current agent reached out to me and they wanted to sign me across the board. And not only had I heard of this agent, but I was like, I'm not passing up somebody trying to sign me across the board. So believe it or not, my agent reached out to me through Backstage. Yep, they reached out to me through Backstage, and he was very persistent. Like, he messaged me 2 days in a row. The first day he was like, hey, we're interested in representing Mariah, blah blah blah, get back to me as soon as possible. Messaged me the next day, same thing. We got on the phone that day and we signed. Just that simple. I had heard of his agency before. I had seen his website and I was trying to see if I could submit to it, but they didn't accept open submission. So I was like, wow, he's reaching out to me? Like, yeah. And then after talking to him on the phone, it further confirmed I want to sign with him. And that's how that happened. And I was like, wow, thank you. I'm not gonna lie, I was manifesting it. I really was. We're not gonna get into that, but I was like, wow, I was so happy. Like, after months of trying to find an agent reached out to me. It made me feel really special and loved, to be honest. And I'm still with that same agent today. So shout out to you. So that's how my agent reached out to me. I always encourage my actor friends who don't have reps to keep your Backstage open, your profile there, so that the same thing can happen to them. I signed with my agent in April of 2022, and also I signed with my manager in April of 2022. So how I found my manager, he also reached out to me. He emailed me saying that he found my Backstage profile and he would like to set up a meeting with me. We set up a meeting. So that's further proof that these agents and managers are looking on Backstage. Both my agent and my manager told me this. So listen carefully. Every few months or ever so often, whenever they need new clients, they will go on Backstage to look for those clients. So say they're like, we'll use me for example. So they're like, I need a black girl, curly hair, maybe my skin tone on my roster. Look on Backstage, watch my acting videos, look at my headshots. They see the potential, or if they want me, they're like, let me hit this girl up. That's what happened. My agent, we got on the phone, but my manager, we got on Zoom. After talking to him, I wanted to sign him too. Now, this is another thing that's important. My agent, we have a verbal contract. So I am signed with him, and I'm sure you can see me like on the database as one of his clients, but it's verbal. So like if we wanted to part ways, we would just talk to each other about it and then part ways. My manager, I have a contract with him, like an actual physical contract with him, which states how much he can take and blah, 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 blah. In general, agents will take 20% if it's non-union and 10% if it's union. Managers typically take 15% all around, maybe 10% if you're a regular on a show or something like that. Like if you book something like really big or something, then it might become 10%, but typically 15% managers, 10% agents, 20% if it's non-union for agents. So it's very important to know the difference in contracts and read your contracts, guys. That's one thing actors will tell you, is bigger actors, especially who have got messed over, is to read your contracts. I don't care how bad you want an agent and manager, if they are asking for something unreasonable or something you cannot provide or don't want to do not sign with them. I'm saying one more time. I don't care how bad you want an agent or a manager. If they have a contract that is just not okay with you, do not sign with them. Okay? When you're looking for a client, what do you look for?
I look for talent I look for someone who has ideally a real, it's kind of difficult to explain, but something unique and interesting about them. You know, it can be something physically interesting, but typically I want to see in their work something that's super interesting as well.
Something that like stands out in a way.
Exactly.
I can see that. I like that. What does a client have to have for you to sign them? You did kind of just answer that, but like, you know, real, uniqueness, individuality, anything else?
Yeah, definitely. So I want to see that someone is engaged in the craft. And what that means more specifically is that they are actively working to perfect their craft. They're in class, or they're in school of some sort, or they're shooting videos regularly. That they're fully engaged, that it's clear from everything they're doing and saying that they're moving in the direction of becoming a professional, or as a professional that they're looking to move their career forward.
I think that's so wonderful, because I think that really shows somebody's honing in on their craft. And if you're honing in on your craft, that means it's really important to you.
Absolutely. And it also makes my job so much easier because a lot of times casting directors look at whether you're studying or not.
Yes.
Especially if you have no credits. If you have certain acting schools, acting teachers that they're familiar with, then they will respect that you're in the realm of being a professional. They will call you in and give you some opportunities. And what you do with those opportunities expresses your professionalism. And also, to take it a step further, do you get your auditions in on time, or do you get them in early? Do you have a backdrop? Do you know how to self-tape? Is the lighting good? Is the sound good? Do you check your work? Those things are crucial towards getting hired.
I could see that, because I know when you signed me, I was still pretty fresh out of acting school and didn't have too many credits, but I could imagine maybe seeing the acting school and the classes and the teachers, that probably helped as well.
Absolutely.
That's good to hear.
And also your attitude helped as well, that you were willing to do things that some people who aren't serious are just not willing to do.
That's true. I feel like with acting, it's very clear. Maybe not at the beginning, but I think it shows through like who's serious about it and who's not based on their behavior.
One of those things that's ongoing, and it's a process. You know, I've had clients not book anything. One of my clients didn't book anything for almost 5 years, but was constantly studying, constantly working, and was in the ballpark of booking for years.
Yeah.
And then once she started booking, then everything started taking off. Yeah. And she had the discipline of knowing how to turn in a self-tape, knowing how to get things done, knowing how to talk to a casting director, knowing also how to be on set. You become more and more professional as time goes on, but you look for those things that show a seriousness and a dedication to the craft.
Yeah, that's amazing, because I feel like a lot of actors, we get scared that like if we're not booking a lot, that maybe we might get dropped or something like that. So it's good that if you're seeing us, you know, work, take classes and stuff like that, that you guys will stay with us and not give up on us.
And every manager is different. I know some managers and agents that if you don't book in a certain period of time, they will drop you. I sign people specifically for a reason, and I tend to believe in those people for that reason, and then for their character and how they work and how they put their career together. And if they're showing promise and they're hustling and they're doing all the right things, I will stick with the client. If they're not doing those things, I'll let someone go relatively early.
I just love to hear that. I feel like everybody should, you know, seek a type of manager like you are.
Well, thank you. And yeah, I remember signing you. One of the reasons why I signed you is because you had a very positive and upbeat attitude. You were working, you were doing everything you knew how to do to move the ball forward with your career. And, you know, and that has been a constant thing with you, which I have always appreciated.
Thank you.
And I think I always tell people, because I've experienced this many times, you're not far away from booking something huge. You just never know. At the last minute, get fired or have some sort of health issue, and they need to replace someone. And who are they going to replace? The person with the great attitude, the person who's working on the craft, the person that that they are impressed with as a second or even sometimes third choice. Those things are really, really crucial.
How often do you look for clients?
People send me things every day. I tend to look at someone every day. One of the things that irritates me, because I literally just looked at someone, and they didn't have their height filled out, they didn't have their weight, they didn't have basic, simple information filled out. I think it's smart to have a dedicated acting social media so that when casting directors, managers, agents, etc., want to look at who you are as an artist, we can go to at least an Instagram or TikTok or even Facebook to actually find you and find what you look like full scale, what your headshots look like, basic, simple information about you. I think it's super important to have that. And what that does is that makes me go, oh, okay, they don't know what they're doing. Someone who has potential may be missing out on major opportunities because they're not thorough. If you're going to email a manager or agent, put some headshots in that email.
Yeah.
So that see what you look like. We can see. If I have to link to something else, I may be busy. I don't have time for that. The reality is that you really want to dive in, make sure your materials are sharp, you have headshots that work for you, and basic material about you, who you are, where you're from, what you look like, how tall you are, what color are your eyes, hair, etc. The other thing to bear in mind is the more successful a person is that you're reaching out to, the more emails they get. Yes. I get about 300 to 600 emails in a day.
Wow.
I may open an email just to see what it is. And if it's something that's just I don't have time for, then I'll delete it and move on to the next thing that I need to deal with. It's also a time thing. And me may get 1,000 or 2,000 emails a day, and they have an assistant or somebody going through them for them. You have to bear in mind that they're constantly seeing people all day long. And what makes you stand out? What information? You want to answer the questions before they're asked.
Exactly.
That's the best way to put it. All the questions. Like, who are you? Where are you from? What have you studied? What are you great at? Do you have anything online that I can look at? And also having like a reel up on YouTube can be a huge thing. Even if they're simple self-tape, they give you an agent, managers, and others a chance to see what kind of work you do. The client once auditioned for a major role for an Amazon show, and the character needed to be outrageous. That particular client could only go so far in being outrageous. And pretty much every iteration of the 3 self-tapes they got looked almost identical. There was nothing significantly different. They couldn't amplify the character. They couldn't make the character angrier or meaner or funnier or they had a very limited range. And I'm saying that to say that those are the things that when I notice them, I'll tell a client, you really need to go to an acting class that challenges you, where they say, this is not good enough. You need to go more extreme. And you know how to do that. And then if people aren't willing to do that, that's when I lose patience. I begin to lose patience. And I think this isn't worth my time and energy.
Yeah.
And we'll start making some changes.
Yeah, because if they're not invested, then of course, why would you be invested as well? I don't know if you've ever heard this. They say it's easier to ask an actor to tone it down than to get them to give you more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. It's all about what's on the written page and also what the creative directors of the project want. What are they looking for? And you have to be able to interpret that. And if they ask you to amplify it, you've got to be able to figure that out. Those are the kinds of things that, as a representative, I look at. And also I know other managers and agents look at, go, well, there are limitations to what this person can do. Then it becomes, you're not booking because you have limitations, not because of a lack of opportunity. People who don't get the opportunities, then it becomes like, how do we create more opportunities for you? And how do we open these doors for you? And what special skills do you have? That's also a big deal for opening doors. So
I think it's so important for an actor to be able to take direction, especially if you're being directed, which you are going to be if you're an actor and you want to work on set, or even if you do a play, you're being directed no matter what. So that's so important, and I can see why that'd be important to you, especially if they're not willing to go to classes to fix that, be able to learn and stuff. Because I think it's important as any type of artist to always be willing to grow and learn and take feedback.
Yeah, it's hugely important.
How do you feel about referrals? And I ask this because I know it could be a very rocky ground. Some people, when they're looking for representation, they don't know if that's a good route. So what do you think? How do you feel about referrals?
I generally like them.
Okay.
Because it means that a friend or someone that you respect, you're willing to put your name out as a client to support that person. So I'll look at that person and I'll review their work. I'll take it more seriously than someone I don't know. Doesn't mean that I'll sign them. It doesn't mean that I'll even meet with them. But I'll definitely take a deeper look into what they're doing and then make some decisions based on that. But generally, that's a better way to go, in my view, than sort of cold calling and looking around.
Cool. That's good to hear, because I know even when I was looking for representation, I wasn't sure. Like, that made me nervous because I was like, I don't know if that's a good option or how managers and agents feel. So I know that'll help a lot of people who want to do the same thing as well. And of course, yes, it differs for person to person, but I know for me, if I was in the position of still looking for somebody, that'd be really encouraging to hear.
Yeah, and the other thing too is what I tell my clients is have whoever it is send me an email and then put in the subject line referred by like Raya. And then I would go, oh, someone that Raya thinks well of. And then I will, pay attention to them.
Cool. I love that. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. I just want to ask, is there anything you want to leave with, any valuable information that you think is important for an actor to know from a manager?
Well, I've kind of said it 3 or 4 times. But
yes.
It's one thing. But definitely get into class, definitely push boundaries and things. Experiment. When you do self-tapes, do more than one take of the self-tapes and review your work. See, if the sound is correct, if the lighting works. Review your performance. Is the performance amped up enough? Is it different? I sat with a casting director and they had hundreds of self-tapes for a particular role. Roughly 90% of the self-tapes I saw were almost identical. They were letter perfect to the script. There was very little interesting or different about them. And then every now and then I would see one where it was different, where they took a slightly different take, where they had a different attitude, or their delivery was really sort of either ominous or a little bit dark or comedic. That just changed everything. And those people who were different went into a different category with the casting director than those who were sort of all alike. So you kind of have to review your work and make sure that you're stepping out as strongly and as positively as you can.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much for helping me out with this. I sincerely appreciate it. And I know it will give so many people who are looking for representation and don't know where to start lots of insight firsthand.
Oh, well, I'm very glad to help you anytime I can.
Thank you.
All right.
And last but not least, I really just want to remind you, there is no rush in this career. The best thing about this career is you can be any age, any ethnicity, any race, because there's all kinds of people in the world, so we need all kinds of people to play different parts. Hollywood is starting to move towards diversity. Just know, there's no rush. You can be any age, so what are you too late for? You can be 90 acting, you know what I'm saying? So just remember, there's no rush. You are on your own journey, and let that journey be a beautiful one that you can enjoy, because when you get there, you're there, you know? And then now what? So enjoy your journey. Don't compare, don't rush, and have fun. Most importantly, have fun. Don't let the business aspect of acting take the fun away from you, because Lord knows it can. Seriously, have fun, enjoy your style. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself to me. Ooh, enjoy it, if y'all know it, Enjoy yourself to me. Better enjoy yourself. Better enjoy yourself. Well, I'm starting to get a little headache. That is going to be the end of this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I really hope this helped. I have much love for you, and I hope you are doing amazing. Hasta la vista, baby.
I get you what you want, but you want me alone. Baby, I get you what you want.